Hello and welcome to the channel. In tonight's episode, I am in the house, I am in the kitchen. I'm going to take you on a journey that I've been working on. It's very new to me, but I'd like to share it with you. If you'd like to see what I'm up to in the kitchen this evening, stay tuned. I have under this towel some sprouts. I have been working on making sprouts. And tonight, I'm going to show you how I started these sprouts. I'm going to start some more, and I'm going to ferment these right here. So let's get into it. These are mung bean sprouts, and these are alfalfa sprouts. I'm going to let these go a few more days, but I'm going to ferment these. Then again, I might just take these and put them in the refrigerator and use them now, which I think that's what I might do. I might go ahead. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead on, rinse these off, put them in the refrigerator. They're ready to eat now, but I am going to ferment these. So let me show you how I'm going to ferment them first, and then I'm going to take you back to how we got here. I'm going to take these over to the sink and rinse them off, and then I'm going to replace or take them out of that quart-sized jar, and I'm going to put them in a half a gallon, and we're going to start the fermenting process. So let me rinse them off, and I'll be right back. I've taken the bean sprouts out of the quart-sized jar, put them in my salad spinner, submerged them in water because there are some seeds that are still ungerminated, as well as the seed, I guess, outer shell, outer husk that is going to fall to the bottom. So I'm just going to rinse these off, pour the water off, get the excess seeds and seed husks off, and then put this in a jar and get it in the refrigerator. When you're making sprouts, you lift out your salad spinner innard, and as you can see, all those seeds that did not germinate and all the shells on the seeds are left in the water. You can eat those, or you can, like me, see if I can get them to germinate in the next batch. But I'm going to take that water out, and I'm just going to use these as my sprouts in my salads and on wraps and whatever else I choose to use this for. So I'm going to dump this one more time because I still have a few more, and my hands are clean. I have washed my hands several times. I'm just trying to get the seed pods or the seed husks off. That way all I have left are the sprouts. Now that I've separated the seed outer casing, the shell, I'm not familiar with what it's called. My brain is drawing a blank right now. I'm just going to take it into my salad spinner and dry them off as much as I can. And this came from Walmart. It's not special. And as you can see, there's still some of the little bitty seed husks or outer coating of the seed. I think that's what it is, the outer coating of the seed. Just drawing out as much water as possible. And I'm going to pour this through here so that those few little sprouts don't get wasted. I'm going to wrap this in a paper towel and get this in the refrigerator. I'm going to repeat the process of rinsing these bean sprouts, getting them in the salad spinner, and then getting them in the half-gallon jar. I've placed the bean sprouts in the salad spinner. I've filled it with water. I've already rinsed these off with them being in the jar. There's a mesh top on the jar, so that allows the water to pass through. So I did rinse them that way. But I'm just rinsing them and breaking them up because they were densely packed into that jar, which is quite surprising of how much they actually sprouted. This is my first time making sprouts. I've eaten them many, many times before, but I've never made them myself. So I'm excited about having some sprouts that I've made. So I'm just rinsing them off, and I've washed my hands already right before I turn on the camera. What I'm just trying to do is I'm trying to get the green seed the seed pod like that out. I mean, you can eat that if you like, but I feel like I don't really want the seed pod. That's what I'm feeling like. And I'm going to be fermenting these. I'm just trying to get as many of these seed pods out as I can. I'm not going to be able to get them all. I'm not going to sit here and try to pick through all of it. Now they're supposed to float to the top, and they do, but the bean sprouts are also, pieces of the sprouts are coming loose and floating to the top. So you can do this or you cannot. It's up to you. I'm trying to get as many of them out as I can because I don't want them in the actual fermented bean sprouts, just in case they change the taste of the fermentation. I'm not sure if they will or not, but just in case, I want to be a little more cautious. Just in case. Okay, so that is what I'm doing. So I'm going to take this out like so. Just give it a shake like so, like that. And those are my mung bean sprouts. So let me dump this water out and then spin it in the salad spinner, and I'll be right back. Now that I have them all spun out and the majority of the water is no longer in the bean sprouts, let's go get them in the jar. I just re-washed my hands, and I'm going to take these out of the jar or out of the spinner and get them in the mason jar. So let's see if you all can see. I'm not quite sure what you all can see because you're facing away from me. So in the mason jar they go. And these have been sitting and sprouting for about 6 days, I want to say. They said roughly 3 days, but it felt like they really weren't fully sprouted in 3 days. So I let them go, kept washing them every day. You rinse them out twice a day, in the morning and in the evening. And I did that. I rinsed them in the morning and rinsed them in the evening. And I want to say day 4, they really, really began to germinate for me and sprout. So there's a lot of the little green seed pod. And I really don't want that. So I'm just going to do this and get that out of the way. Okay. Now the next step in fermentation, if you've never fermented anything, is you need salt. So let's get some salt. Because I'm using a half gallon, I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of Himalayan pink salt. Just like that. And in the jar it goes. Now, I'm also going to put some garlic in there. So let me get some garlic in the refrigerator. And I'm just going to, and that's garlic in just some vinegar, nothing more. I'm going to take some garlic. You take as much as you like. I'm just going to get some garlic. I'm just going to pierce it with a fork a little bit. I hope you all can see. Like that. Now this has been in the refrigerator in vinegar. So it tastes fresh, but I believe the vinegar has changed the taste just a little bit. But I love the way it tastes. So there's that. Now we're going to put this back in the refrigerator. Now we're going to get some water. I cannot believe that all of this came out of a 1 quart size jar. This all came out of a quart size jar. It was crammed in there, y'all. And so now I'm just going to put some water. I'm going to fill it up. Well, not quite fill it, but I'm going to cover the sprouts, and it's actually rising. So let's see how we get it going here. And I am going to put my water over here. I have a fermenting weight. You can get these on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description box below to my canning weights and my fermenting weights. That way, if you're interested in these weights, you can get them for yourself. And you just place them on the top, let them sink. Now, if there's anything floating, if you have any floaters, you take that floating matter off. You don't want anything floating. So I'm going to remove all of this floating matter, because anything above the water has the possibility of molding, and we don't want any mold in our ferments. So I'm just taking all the bits that are floating out. There we go. And I ferment regularly, but making sprouts, this is my first experience with sprouts, but I'm always fermenting something. Let's see if I'll get that. Okay, so I think we're in business. We want to keep everything up under the water. All right, now what I need next is a lid and a coffee filter. So let me get that. I said lid, but what I meant was a ring. And then you just place your coffee filter. Now you do need to shake up that salt in there, but I put the salt in there and then poured the water on top. So it actually folded down to the bottom. So I don't have to shake it up or mix it up. It should be fine. And then I put my lid on like so, or my ring on like so. And I just threaded over a coffee filter. I've already put the date on it right there. And so this is going to go over into my fermentation station, which is behind me. I've already started fermenting again today. Something is always fermenting in my kitchen. And this one I did a little while ago. This is nothing more than I picked up a bag of frozen vegetables. This is broccoli, cauliflower, and carrots. And I'm just fermenting. I did the exact same process with the salt and the water. I just put my vegetables in there, and I'm going to let them ferment for a few days, and we will smell it to see what it looks like. Once the water begins to turn cloudy, your ferment is done. But if you want to let it go a few more days, that's up to you. But that's how I gauge it. So I am going to get a bowl, a bigger bowl, and put both of my ferments in that bowl, and then reuse this small bowl for another ferment that I'm going to do. So actually, I'm going to set this aside for right now, but I am going to show you how I started those sprouts. So let me get started. What I found is starting sprouts isn't complicated. I take a mason jar and whatever organic beans or seeds or sprouting seeds that I have, I started that way. And so I picked up some organic mung beans because I wanted to try mung beans. I think I've eaten mung beans before. If that's what the Asian stores use as their bean sprouts, I've eaten mung bean sprouts before. So I picked up a bag of mung beans. They were inexpensive. And I am going to take 3 tablespoons and put them in this quart size mason jar, like so. And if you don't have a measuring spoon, just cover the bottom of your jar. Make sure you can not see the bottom of your jar. Okay, that's a good indicator. 3 tablespoons. So let me close this up. And now we're going to rinse them, and we're going to soak them overnight. Before I rinse them, I want to show you, I have a mesh top. Make sure I get the soap off. I just washed it. I have a mesh top that fits inside of my lid, my canning lid. I'm just going to put that on there like that. And I run water through here and rinse them very well. And then I fill it with water, not all the way, but I'll show you that step in just a moment. So let me rinse these and I'll be right back. I didn't show you me rinsing the beans because rinsing the beans, I believe that everyone should know how to run beans underwater. And if you don't my apologies. I just ran the beans under water 4 or 5 times until the water stopped looking frothy. A lot of times when I rinse beans, the water seems to look like there's soap in the water. So I continuously rinse the beans until there is no more of that. And then once that's done, you have your beans. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some water in here, like so. Not quite half. And I feel like it's still looking soapy. Okay, there we are. I'm hoping it's not, but it's got bubbles for some strange reason. Okay, now they're gone, pretty much. But I'm going to let this sit overnight on the counter until tomorrow, about 24 hours, about 12 hours you should let it sit. So I'm going to let this sit for 12 hours. I'm going to rinse these off, and then I'll show you the next step. So I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. It is the next morning, and our beans are waiting for us. As you can see, they are beginning to plump and loosen from their shells. So we're going to rinse them, and we're going to let them sit until later this evening. The beans have been rinsed, and now what I'm going to do is place a paper towel. Let's move this over so that you all can see better. I'm going to place a towel in the bottom of my bowl like that, just to catch any water. I'm going to place my spoon because I don't have a holding gadget that people use. I'm going to take my beans and shake them like that, roll them, and I'm just going to lay them just like that in my bowl. I'm going to take a towel, place over them, and they're going to sit here until later this evening before I go to bed. I'm going to rinse them again. In the morning, I will rinse them again, place them back in the bowl, and after, let's move this back over into the corner. This is my processing station back there. After about 3 days, you'll begin to see your bean sprouts, but I say about 5 days, the entire bowl or jar, and I use a quart size mason jar, the entire jar will end up being completely packed with bean sprouts. And once they're completely packed, filled in completely, I rinse them. I take them out like you saw I did, put them in here, and now I'm doing a second process, which is fermentation. And that is how I make my sprouts. So I hope you guys enjoyed this 2-day tutorial. If you did, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, share the video. If you have not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. There's always something going on over here at Clausen World, and I hope to see you either in my kitchen or my food forest real soon. Make yourself some bean sprouts, y'all. It's not that difficult. Bye for now.